Okay, this video was kind of a request. A flashback from the past, which I had recently reposted over on YouTube, was the East German combat pack or assault pack, also known as the Sturmgepack. Someone had asked me, well, what modifications could be done to it to make it easier to use, more effective, that type of thing. I think they've been watching videos and they were wondering recommendations and stuff. Now, when I first did the initial research on them, I did come across a lot of things on how people had modified them, not so much on the information I was looking for that video. When I've gone back now to try to find some of that stuff, it's gone. So I had to go off of memory here and also just did a few modifications that I think would make this a more effective system. Now, first off, I have here two packs together. You can clip them together right on these D-rings using the hooks. So we double the capacity first off. Now on the back one here, this is the most common modification I've seen. People took the grenade pouch and sewed it to the back of the pack down near the bottom. Now before I sewed this on, I went through, cut this strap out here, cut this strap out here, saved the material. I then split or cut open the stitching here between this strap and the clip, and then removed the clip on each side. Then sewed it directly to the pack itself, right here on the edge, using fishing line. And then up at the top here, I added some fishing line in here, sewing it right to the pack. The bottom is not sewn down, but what I got here is essentially 3 channels that I can stick stuff through. As you see here, I did that with an ETool. So this adds 3 little pouches on your assault pack that you can still fit in a couple of hand grenades if you so choose. Here in the center you do lose some space in here if you put the ETool through like I did there. But that's one modification. Next modification, as you see, I have this attached. What I did, basically along the lines of the US Musette pack from World War II, they had a piece of fabric here with an attachment that you could attach your ETool to. So I figured that might be a decent modification. Now to do that, I used one of these, the Molly adapter. Went through, cut off both of these straps, cut the buttons off up here going across with the scissors, and then melted the nylon. And then as you see, attached it this way so that you can use the old style attachment system like was used up into the Korean War to attach something on here. You can run Molly straps through this. You can put Alice clips through this, whatever you so choose. I sewed it on this edge over here, and down the middle. So I got 2 channels behind, and I got the channels here in the middle for Alice clips. Another modification I did, as you see here, there's extra pouch on here. I added some molly webbing. Easy to do, you just need some about 1 inch wide strapping, whatever you have available. I went down about 2 inches, made a mark, and I go, it'll be hard for you to see, but there's a seam here and a seam here. I took some strapping, sewed over the edge a little bit, put it on here, stretched it across, cut it with the scissors right along this outside edge, took that excess, rolled it under, and did a couple quick stitches there. Take it, lined it up at that 2 inch mark going across, sewed here, then take a molly pouch of some type or another adapter, feed that in, and if you have another piece of strapping, put it in the middle, and then stitch in through here, stitch in through here. So now you have 3 attachment points for doing molly. Then I would go through, take another piece of webbing, set it across right up underneath here so I got my space. So I knew where the next one was going to be, went through, repeated what I did up here, going all the way down. By doing that, I was able to fit in 4. If you want to fit in a 5th one at the bottom, hey, have fun, go ahead. I went 2 inches down at the top because some pouches do kind of stick up above the top of the start of the molly straps. Some of them don't. This way you can put on potentially a pouch up here, potentially a pouch down here, or one large one, or whatever you so choose. Now before I put these on, I did cut off or remove the attachment point down here for the accessory strap, which is attached to the East German pack. Went through, cut the stitching out, removed it, saved it. And then what I did on the other pack here, I left the attachment point down here. I got the measurements. I got the measurements from the outside edge, from the bottom for down here, repeated it up here. Tried to, as much as possible, use the same holes on this piece of strapping, and then sewed it through and attached it. This way you got 2 attachment points on the side for holding your Zeltbahn bedroll. Now this next one I found modification I came across recently, and I do recommend this if you're going to use this as an assault pack or your primary rucksack. This type of modification like this, putting 2 of them together like this as a set, you can use this as your actual ruck. Alice suspenders, remember you have lefts and right. Now up here you have the hook. Down at the bottom of the hook, there's a loop. You can go through, cut the hook off. I'm probably going to. I just haven't done it yet. Run the strap from the top of your ruck strap here, through that loop, back out and over, and attach it on. Down here at the bottom, you take the loop at the bottom of your strap, run it through the D-ring clip here on the bottom. Now where you got 2 normal ruck straps on it. These are just some of the modifications I thought of for this pack. Guaranteed you can come up with others that will work better for you. Think about it, it's not that hard. My recommendations, don't use normal thread, use fishing line. Max of a 10-pound test. I think when I sewed this, I used like 4-pound test. It works. You want a heavier duty needle, not a really thin one, especially when you're going through and you're trying to get through the multiple layers of material here, like on the side of the pouch. Or when you're trying to push through webbing, you want a little bit of a beefier needle to try to go through either of those materials. Going through this stuff was fairly simple, even on the pack. Do as good of a job as you can. Double your fishing line in your needle. I usually do that. It works better than just running it singly. It's also a hell of a lot easier when you're sewing. Double your stitching. So sometimes you go up and then over a little bit and then back down. Go ahead and do that, especially on the outside edges of things that potentially are going to be pull points where something could catch or get pulled off. You're going to want more than just that one line of stitching. You're going to want two essentially side by side. There you go. That's just some modifications I did. I did this modification in about, I'll say 8 to 10 hours. I was doing it by hand. I was not using a sewing machine. So it took some time, but you know, I was doing 2 different packs and doing as best I could on the whole thing. So there you go. That's some modifications you can do to the East German Combat Pack to take it from just an assault pack and actually turn it into a full-on rucksack. I recommend when you pack it, put your heavier items inside the pack that's by your back, the lighter items on the other pack. Now you're probably wondering, well, how are you going to access stuff? Because there's usually one person that wants to be a smartass. I packed these as tight as I could for the video. And this is not the easiest to do with gloves. Disconnect the hooks, and then you have access to the straps here to open it up. And then obviously you get what you need. Oh, the bottom connection point, you have the D-ring and the clip that you just hook those together. I would recommend going through and probably bending the clip so it's not going to come apart. It'll work. For those of you that don't have a lot of money, if you can get a hold of some of these from a surplus store or online, hey, if you got the talent or know someone who does, take it, modify it. It should hold about as much, at least the same amount of stuff as a medium Alice pack in this configuration. And obviously, you can strap stuff to the outside wherever you need it. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and Militia movements, always remember, essayons.